Hello, I'm joined by Biffy Clyro. We're here to talk about their new MTV Unplugged album and DVD.
Yes!
Welcome, guys.
DVDs still exist.
How are you doing?
We're doing great, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
So you released your last record, Ellipsis, in July 2016.
Yeah.
And you've been touring it pretty much since then, until last year.
Mm-hmm.
How was that process? Was it like different to previous tours?
I guess it was different. I guess we were consistently playing kind of quite big shows everywhere, and it's probably maybe the second kind of record where we've been able to prep in advance for a bunch of gigs. So that felt really quite relaxing for a change.
Yeah.
Normally we're a bit more flying by the seat of our pants, so we had to be organised. And it was quite liberating. We toured our socks off as always, too much. Exhausted by the end. we never learned. We're always like, yeah, fuck it, keep going, this is great. And then you go home and you realise you're a husk of a man. But yeah, it's been a great couple of years.
Yeah, I think you kind of... I was going to say you learn to look after yourself better, but I don't even know if that's true either.
5 coffees in this one this morning indicates otherwise.
Never learn.
But I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having fun, you know, still getting to tour around and play your songs and wanting to do it as best as we've ever done it before. So yeah, the hunger's still there for sure.
How do you look after yourselves when you're on tour? Bit of yoga?
See, we quite often we'll try, you know, we'll always be like, right, this will be the tour, we'll do what all these other bands do, we'll get up early in the morning and we'll do some workouts and stuff, and of course it doesn't, like we didn't join a band to do that. You know, like we are a bit better at eating healthier, we're now like have catering in tour so we can eat stuff that isn't shit, stuff that actually is good for us, which helps a lot. But yeah, we're really not good at kind of turning that corner into like...
We'd go as far as buying the yoga mats. And then that's about it.
Or saying to our tour manager, Neil, could you buy some yoga mats?
You know, yoga mats, cool. And then we never take them out. So.
Okay, well, that's a start, isn't it?
It's a start.
It's a process.
The intention is there.
It's tough though, it's tough.
Yeah. So you've been resting then since Christmas?
Yeah, I guess resting in terms of not travelling, but we've been working on a lot of new music, and we're working on 2 records kind of concurrently at the moment. We're doing 1 record for a movie which will be filmed once we finish the record. It's this really cool kind of collaboration we've got going with this Welsh director called Jamie Adams, who's a fantastic director. He makes some really hilarious movies. Well, this one will not be funny. If you know Biffy Clyro, it'll be hilarious. But so we're doing this movie with him, so we're kind of writing the soundtrack, and some of the script will come from some of the lyrics in the songs. So it's this constantly changing thing at the moment. But we've got the songs picked, and then at the same time we're working on Opus 8. That's what our working title for the next Biffy album is, Opus 8. And that's going great. So yeah, just doing what we do. You know, I think for us being tired is about the travelling mostly, and kind of the engagement all the time. You know, like it's not actually the making music and being in a band that's the tiring part. It's just when you're always away from home. So it's always a pleasure when we get back. You know, we can still stand each other.
Can you tell me a bit more about this film then? You're basically sort of co-writing it.
Yes. So
how did that start? How did you get in contact with the director?
Jamie got in touch with us and had this plan for this movie, and it's kind of this is very reductive, but it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of story from Juliet's point of view. That was our starting point. And Jamie had this outline for this movie, and he just asked if we were interested in making the music for it. And I've been down to see him in Wales. He's a very prolific director. He's got a couple of movies out just now. He's just been out at South by Southwest and things, and he's really creative, and he workshops his movies. So he's a bit like Mike Leigh. I think it's Mike Leigh that workshops for 2 or 3 weeks before they start filming. So that's why it's doable. You know, he doesn't work strictly from a script. It's an outline. So we'll have all our music all done, and then they'll go in and workshop it with the music playing along and things, so that ideas can spark off it. And so yeah, it's really unusual. It's tough to explain because it's even with Warner. You know, Warner's our label. You know, when we were talking to them about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys have to be the one band that do everything backwards." You know, it's like normally the movie comes and then you do the soundtrack according to visuals or something. So that's what really appealed to us. You know, it's one thing doing a soundtrack would be cool, but to feel like we're affecting the movie, you know, I think is what made it so exciting.
What does it sound like?
Well, at the moment it's a collection of kind of songs that
That's like
let's just leave it as that.
Some drums, some guitars, some singing. We've got
I see it as like 6 pairs of songs. So there's like a couple of songs that are kind of acoustic and a wee bit Nick Cavey. A couple of songs that are kind of full on electronic. A couple of songs that are kind of almost kind of weird hardcore songs. A couple of big epic rock songs. And so I'm just trying to approach it in a different way. That, you know, it's kind of the opposite of a collection of songs, because that's what your albums become. You know, you have a bunch of songs, you kind of pick the ones that kind of feel best together and everything. But with this, we have to feel it when we're playing it. We can't, you know, it can't just be this is a good song, therefore it will go in the movie. You know, it needs to have purpose. So yeah, at the moment we're thinking of 5 or 6 different kind of moods, and then that's how we're kind of building it.
And how about Opus 8? What's that sounding like? Like on from Ellipsis?
I think probably in a similar. We kind of joked a little bit about whenever it comes to describing new music that you've not even really finished making. It's such a difficult thing to explain, and people always fall into that trap of saying, "Oh yeah, the heavier bits are going to be heavier." And we were kind of joking that maybe the heavier bits should be less heavy and the quiet bits should be louder.
The melodic bits are less melodic.
But it's so early to say at the moment. We've never been a band that paints itself into a corner too much, but I think you have to have some sort of parameters. So there's going to be a rock record, there's no doubt about that, you know.
We've got a song that sounds kind of like the Jasabiab sounds a tiny bit like a 60s kind of Beatles song or something. It's a wee bit. So there's always like a couple of songs that kind of can be the spark of the record. So at the moment for Opus 8, it's just like splurging songs. So we have 15 songs for that at the moment, and we'll do another bunch of recording. And you know, a record has to have purpose for us now. You know, like. There's no point in just making an 8th record because it's time to make another record. You know, it needs to be something with, especially in this day and age, something that we feel that we're offering to the world, you know, and it can't just be. A lot of bands reach a point where it's just like, oh, time for another record, and we never want to be that kind of band, you know. So the songs they're all over the place. One's a bit Beatlesy, there's kind of a couple kind of. I always say that kind of reggae kind of vibe. There's always a bit of fucking reggae.
Our music,
but
our music
doesn't
really
read
well, or
it doesn't read well.
When
No,
you describe our music, it doesn't sound great. But we like that. We always like to kind of throw people off the scent a little bit.
Yeah, because we're always going to be a heavy rock band, and we like to, especially at this early stage, we embrace the absurd, and then it kind of slowly gets brought back into the sound of us as a band, you know. So, and I think it's important to do that. You know.
You've said that it's quite political. Is that still the case?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's not fully formed yet. Don't get me wrong, but I just there's so much to be angry about at the moment, and actually by the time our album comes out, Brexit will have happened. You know, like and shit like that. You know, it's like everything's chopping and changing every single day, and that's what's so horrible. Like our realities are shifting. You know, like we were talking earlier even about April Fool's jokes. We haven't seen as many this year because if you make an April Fool joke, it becomes the news. It's suddenly it's the truth. So. It's just it's a kind of horrible period we're in at the moment. I find it really quite unsettling, and I think that's kind of what I mean in terms of, you know, I haven't sat down to start writing the lyrics, but that it's the political bleeds into the personal at the moment, and everything's just this one big mess, and systems are just going to have to change. I think, you know, I think it's like we need to tear shit down and start again, you know, and not in an anarchist kind of way, but in a methodical way. You know, let's see what's working, see what's not working, and quite obviously our political systems don't fucking work. Democracy doesn't work anymore. If it doesn't go your way.
Last year we had Jeremy Corbyn on the cover with his message of hope before the election. What do you make of him now? I
think he's great. I think he could have handled himself a little better in the last week or so. Yeah. But you know what? He's talking for people, like real people, normal people, and the youth, and that's what all these old bastards are forgetting who are making these decisions right now. It's like, listen to the kid, listen to the youngsters coming up. Like, why are we ignoring people they're going to be the ones that are driving us? Yeah, sorry, I'm getting down.
It's because he speaks against the establishment. He makes himself a bit of a target, you know. But at least he's willing to put his head above the parapet.
He's not scared to say what needs to be said, and I think that's it. And there's just people get scared too easily when an idea seems so. You know, he's a communist. It's like, no, he's not a fucking communist. You know. Maybe he is. No, he's not. But you know what I mean? It's like people are scared of these certain buzzwords and things, and it's like we're in a new millennium. It's a new reality. We're in a transitional period, you know, and I think people are just, yeah, it's reactive. You know, I'm glad the people that support him, but the people that don't like him are just reactive to it. You know, rather than actually kind of listening and trying to let it saturate their, you know, what they believe to be right or wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's Mental Health Awareness Week coming up in May, and we're asking a lot of musicians about it. What do you think about how the dialogue around mental health is changing, how young people feel more open to discussing their own mental health, especially young men?
I think it's so important. I mean, like, what was the... Yeah, I mean, the stats of young men killing themselves is horrific, isn't it? And it's always been a tough thing for people to talk about. And that's been the problem. As soon as you internalise something to that degree, you just become entirely alone. And it's the same as then. If you share even your happiest moments of your life, if you don't have anyone to share it with, it's not going to bring you a lot of happiness. And sharing is what's going to make us all survive, you know. And you have to share these horrible moments and ask for help and kind of ask questions about it. You know, don't just accept it as a reality. There's ways out of these situations and being in such a dark place. And the good thing is, once you actually verbalise it, you realise a lot of people go through the same thing, and that's what's healthy, because it's about supporting each other, because you're not the only person. And I just think for so long it's you know, thankfully all our ideas of what masculinity is changing, you know, but I think that's been the problem, that people may have just felt like, or young men have felt like, oh, it's not the right thing to do, I won't look strong, and actually it makes you stronger if you can talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can see things are changing, even if I think about looking at my own family and older generations, about how they deal with mental health problems or things. I think society in general is much more open to talking about it, you know, and I think that does encourage people to come forward with their own problems, and I think that's the right way to go, and I think they should be encouraged a lot more to help people talk about things and be a little bit open.
So we're here to talk about your MTV Unplugged set. Tell me about how you went about planning it, and like what the experience was like.
Oh, incredible. I mean, when it was mentioned...
It's unplugged, man!
It was unplugged, you know, it's like...
It was electric!
I don't think we believed it at first, it was true. And it was one of those ones you really wanted to happen so badly that you're like, someone's going to take this away from us. I know it. That's always what our mindset's always been.
Yeah, because we'd heard a little bit in advance, and it was like, only the greats do the Unplugged, you know. And then when we got confirmed, as you said, it was amazing. So... Sorry, I've totally jumped in.
No, crack on, that was it.
Like, the buzz quickly kind of dissipated to, oh shit,
oh, yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we need to do this.
So we stupidly watched all the classic Unplugs, you know, like, you know, all our favourite ones like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and that, but also things like 10,000 Maniacs, George Michael, Roxette did it back in the day. And suddenly you then go, oh, right, okay, right, we're, you know, this has been some really quality unplugs. And after a little while, we just kind of thought, all we can do is our own thing. And actually, we've always been comfortable playing acoustic. Most people know us as a really loud, kind of aggressive band, but we've always done really quiet songs on our B-sides and things, and on our records, and we've always really enjoyed translating the songs to an acoustic setting. So once we kind of got over the then it was actually, the hardest part was getting the songs down to like a set length. You know, we ended up with about 30 songs we could have played, and we did we played 18 in the night, and a few of them I didn't sing very well, so they didn't make the record. So it's just a 15-track album. You'll be glad. I'm fucking glad. So yeah, it was kinda in a bit of a fantasy land for a little while. Didn't feel real. It still doesn't, kinda.
No. I think in other shows, because there's, you know, you have so much adrenaline when you go out there, and in other shows you're running around and there's so much energy, you get to kind of get rid of that adrenaline somewhere, but that never happened.
There was no outlet.
Just like, we were shaking for 3 days. It was like, did that really happen? Really, everyone kept asking, how do you feel? And we're like, I don't know. I've got no idea.
I know, we're so used to, like, our adrenaline's always accompanied with exhaustion, because we just give everything at our shows, and so to come off that show and have the full on adrenaline but no tired, you know, no physical exhaustion was really weird. And
but a huge honour, you know, those performances, especially in the 90s when we were kind of at our most receptive, I suppose, as young music fans. Those performances had such an impact on us and opened our eyes and ears to new music. You know, some of the cover versions that Nirvana and Pearl Jam did opened up new artists to us, and it's just such a weird way the circle's completed for us to come back and to be doing it ourselves. It was really really something quite special.
I think even things like Nirvana's Unplugged, we used to play that, like, and try and play the whole thing, and I mentioned it in the show, but we used to record ourselves on cassette tape, like doing our version of Nirvana, you know, doing all the chat in between it, and little things like Ben singing as a drummer, you know, like that came from us practicing and watching Unplugged and stuff to see, oh, you know, there's no rules, anyone can sing, you know, and things like that, and so yeah, it's funny to see it come full circle like that. And
you haven't taken to wearing the polo neck like Dave
No,
Grohl?
I thought it'd be a bit warm in the night.
fucking, it's a bold move, man. It was only looking back at it, like, Dave Grohl's wearing a fucking polo.
It was funny, all those things in the 90s just passed by, like Jeff Ament with his big, it was like a fine knit top hat, a big floppy top, you know.
A lot of stuff passed us by in the 90s,
Didn't
alarm bells.
notice, you know.
Total alarm bells.
Was there a moment you remember on being on stage that was just like a highlight?
Probably for me it was probably just the very start, because we'd been practicing like really quietly and going out there and hearing the cheer of the crowd, because we were so focused on like what we were doing, you know, in the run up to it and practice and, you know, choosing the right set list, that the biggest surprise for me was just how much the crowd were unbelievable. They sang right from the very first word. That it was overwhelming how much they sang, and that was quite a liberation, you know, on the night. It was like, we're here together, and we always want to feel that at Biffy shows, you know. It's important for us that we're sharing something, all of us are sharing something, you know, whatever it is, and a sandwich. But Unplugged, it was just really special because we'd been so in our zone of, like, you know, playing really quietly, and then we were like, this isn't actually about us sitting playing the perfect show. It's about everyone sharing these songs that you know.
And over the last few years we've been lucky enough to get further and further afield and take our music around the world and kind of make real connections with people, and to bring it back to the Roundhouse and to see people that we'd met at these shows all over the world all come to London together and have this kind of communal celebration of the songs, if you like, and that sort of guise. It was really special to feel that we're bringing people together as well.
That's a reminder of the power of Unplugged, wasn't it? You know, as much as it's not been on the air, you know, a lot of kids maybe don't know what Unplugged is, you know, or know how iconic it is. But yeah, when you see people travel from all over the world because it's Unplugged, they want to be at our Unplugged. That really kind of a lovely reminder, wasn't it?
So you've got that out this year. You've got the soundtrack album out this year.
Yeah, that'll be out this year.
And then Opus 8.
Opus 8.
As well?
Yeah.
Is that also 2018?
That'll be 2019. Okay. Yeah. We don't want to make people sick. So
you got festival season coming up, but quite a short festival season for you at the moment.
Yeah,
Have you got any UK festivals, or is it all?
No, we never want to. When we were on the road, we play a lot. So no, we won't be playing UK festivals this summer. Last time we took some time off between records. We didn't play for a whole year, and it was the worst thing we've ever done. You know, like, it's like we forgot how to swim almost. And so this time we're just doing a handful of festivals kind of around Europe and further afield. But no, we want to save our sexy selves for the UK.
Okay. And thanks for coming.
I should say though, we will be touring later in the year.
Okay, great.
We're going to go out and finally do some Unplugged shows. So we're going to do a little.
We're going to be sat like this.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to do pick a few cities and just do some shows to kind of celebrate Unplugged while we're working on the other records. So
cool. Well, we'll look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Biffy Clyro.
Thanks,
Good to
Len.
talk to you, man.